What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to another live stream. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but it is so good to have you guys with us for the live stream. We're today talking about
Stranger Things
Season-
season 3.
that's right, season 3 of Stranger Things. Whoops. My phone is like doing weird stuff because I want to be able to talk to you guys in the live stream here. But hey, what's up, Caleb? Good to see you guys. What's up, Tiftastic? I see you joined.
Yes, I'm
So,
trying
so we
to,
can all live chat while we're doing this. But hey, it is good to see you guys. If this is your first time to the channel and you're just discovering us now, what took you so long? It's a great channel. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun and we do a lot of cool, fun stuff. And so you need to be a part of it. So if you like nerdy stuff, hey, consider hitting that subscribe button. Yo, what's up, Chicken Nugget?
Chicken Nugget.
What's up, Lord Boogie?
Nice.
Yeah, so see, we're just a great big family here around at the Poindexter Lounge, a great big nerd family, and we love to talk about fun stuff. So if that's you, hey, consider being a part of it. So that's out of the way. How you guys been? What's been up? We've been pretty busy so far.
Nice. Mr. Stranger Things fan tipper wiper woo.
Yeah, nice,
Yes, babe.
nice.
He said non-spoiler thoughts. Best season yet.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into talking about Stranger Things, but just want to say hi to everybody. Just want to let you guys know that we love you all. We didn't go anywhere.
Yet.
The channel is not shutting down or whatever. We've posted a little less in the last few weeks, but the boys have been finishing up sports and stuff, and we've been really busy. And so, but of course, we always want to make time for our nerd family. So hey guys. Also, don't forget, where'd it go?
It's right here.
It's right there. Don't forget, I know some of you have already gotten in on this, but you want to be a part of this. We're giving this thing away right here. This 2-pack of Orm and Aquaman. That's the giveaway for this month, so get in on that. What's up, Arctic Conquest? Speaking of giveaways, Arctic Conquest won last month. He won there was an Orm action figure, and he won that, and so he'll be getting that shortly. All the kids aren't here, and so he asked for us to sign it, and I realized that all the kids weren't here, and so they got to sign it. And so we'll be getting that out to you. But hey, if you want this, make sure to let us know, and we'll put you in there. I know some of you have done that already. All right, guys, let's talk about Stranger Things. See, we jumped right in, and I did not even have time to put on
Stranger Things. So
my Stranger Things sweatshirt, but it's okay.
I'm wearing mine.
I know. I just hold it right here the whole time. But hey, this season, let's just talk about it. Turn around, look what you see in her face, the mirror of your dreams. Make believe it. Oh, yes. The never-ending story. Wasn't that
That was
great?
my favorite.
Oh, that was awesome. That was up. What's up? Who's in there?
Sly Prentice.
What's up, Sly Prentice? What's up, Caleb? I'm sorry, Caleb, I didn't miss you, man. So let's just jump right in here. The season, it's too short.
yeah, they need to.
Oh.
Netflix,
More than 8 episodes.
I know.
Netflix needs to learn what a season is.
No, I get it. Like they have a specific story, that they need to tell. And so I understand that, you're not going to necessarily tell that story as long. But I agree. Yes, Chicken Nugget. It needs to be about 12 episodes, right?
A little bit more.
At least, right? I think 12 episodes would be good. Now, I will agree. Yes, Sly Apprentice, it was a slow build-up. The first couple of episodes were a little slow.
But I think that they had been gone for a little longer than anticipated. So I actually really enjoyed. You did not have to watch the last season to be like, wait a minute, what happened last season? Because they did enough like flashbacks to remind you, oh yeah, But
Yeah.
then it also, to me, made me show. They're showing the kids playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm like, look at how little they were just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So just to see how much they've changed and what they've gone through.
Yeah. So no, it did. I thought it was good that like they kind of showed where everybody's at, what everybody's doing. Kind of recapped a little bit about what happened from the season before.
What's going on?
And I thought it was cool how they upped the stakes in this season, where the creatures, the Mind Flayer actually had physical form.
Because it had to come into this world, not the other.
Yeah. And so that was
And I
really
also
cool.
like that it was not just Will that had to be taken over. We actually got to see a little bit of his acting chops because he was not the one that was
Yeah,
taken over
it wasn't
by
possessed.
Montclair.
What's up, William? Good to see you, buddy. Can we just talk for just a second? And I know there's so many things, like my mind is racing of like all the things to talk about. Can Steve catch a break?
Yeah, really.
The poor guy. You set us up to really want him.
He gets beat up so many times
Oh.
in every season, and this was no different.
The poor guy. We'll get to Hopper in just a second, guys. But man, Steve, I tell you what, the poor guy, like, you know, he didn't get Nancy, you know, in the in there. What's up, William? I understand, buddy. No problem, man. When you're done, come back and watch this. Or we may end up doing another video about this too, because the other boys aren't here, and so we'll end up
And
talking
Isaac
about
has
it a
stuff
couple
to
times.
say. They're on vacation, and Logan is finishing the season up.
Yeah. So, but poor Steve, man. Steve, you know, they finally give him this girl that we're all like,
Steve
Yeah.
Harrison.
yeah, this will work. Steve can.
And
Yeah,
I love Robin this season.
I know Robin was
Love
so
her.
great, and then it's like, nope, Robin likes girls, and so
Tipper
poor
Waferwood
Steve.
says Steve is a mother to Dustin. He is.
I heard
It's like
some.
the book, Are You My Mother?
I heard somebody say that they would love to see a spin-off show of like Steve,
I was the one that
Robin.
said it. I saw it on Twitter. It showed
Yeah.
the picture of the three of them. And it showed Robin, Steve, Erica, and Dustin. And it says, we would like to petition the Duffer Brothers to do a spin-off of these guys just fighting crimes together and like solving mysteries. And someone said, yes.
That'd be awesome. I did like the fact that everybody had these separate storylines, and by the end,
It all
that,
came together, which
it
was
did.
nice.
It came together. You know, you're right, Caleb. His reaction to it was like, "Oh, okay." I don't know if that reaction, though, that is a very 2019 reaction. I mean, Stranger Things does a very good job.
But he also, in a weird way, got rejected by hearing that news, too, because it means that he didn't have a chance.
Yeah, no, I get it, but no, I don't know if you saw what Caleb said,
Yeah.
that he loved his reaction to it, and I loved his reaction to it as well. But Stranger Things does a really good job of capturing the 80s. I've always thought. I mean, everything about the 80s. You know, I mean, having grown up in the 80s myself, there's so many things about that show that it's like just watching it, right? Yeah, exactly. They made the mall, Brandon, look amazing. It looked exactly like the 80s with the neon lights and the old signage.
I felt like I was going back to the mall back in that day.
Exactly. All the stores, even the little. I mean, to see Sam Goody in the background, and it's like, oh wow, yeah. It made the mall court, you know, center court look like that and everything. But Steve's reaction, as much as I liked Steve's reaction to her reveal, I don't know if that's an 80s reaction.
To me, though, I don't. It didn't bother me because to me it wasn't so much an '80s reaction as it was, hey, you know, he's finally coming out telling her, I like you, and I've been fighting it this whole time because Dustin said I should be with you and this and that. I think I've actually finally fallen for you, and he finally opens up like he did with Nancy, and he was just like, oh, okay, and then they went back to being friends again, kind of like. I saw it more as a rejection again, that, you know, dang it, I finally find someone that was perfect for me, and it's not going to work. And so to me, that was the reaction I felt was not so much 80s.
It just
that
wasn't.
I can't be with her.
I just felt that it wasn't as much as a shock to him as I think that it would have been more in the 80s. Like if you had a girl turn you down because she was gay, that would have been more of a shock. Having been a boy in the 80s, if a girl turned you down because she was gay, that's a complete, you know, that's a different thing. Today, that's probably more understandable,
Exactly, Keith.
and I could see his reaction to that. But back in the 80s, I don't know if the reaction would have been that smooth, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about that. I'm not saying it was bad. I liked his reaction to it. I just don't know if that was an 80s, because of the decade it's in, if that would have been the reaction from some guy finding that out. But I love their relationship. I love the friendship, right?
Steve's introduction.
Exactly. That's the other
Yeah.
thing that was funny.
Yeah. So let's so let's talk Hopper.
Ooh.
I love Hopper. And so if you are trying to avoid spoilers here, probably now you'll want to jump off, because we are going to talk about spoilers, and we are going to get into some things that you're going to want to get gone for. But come back to this. So Hopper, what a great character. I love how he's challenged with stuff, and he's this guy's guy, that hasn't dealt with a lot of sentimental stuff, and
He also dealt with a lot, losing a daughter and a wife too.
Yeah.
He passed before, and then which showed why he drank the way that he did and why he acted the way that I don't care anymore in the first season.
I loved his reaction at first, where he's slamming open the door and stuff, say 3 inches apart, 3 feet apart, whatever, trying to keep the kids apart and stuff, because
That's what a dad does.
that's exactly.
But he
that's
also
the
took
deal.
that on. It's like, it's not like he, got, together with someone and they had a kid. It's like he fed her egos in the wilderness to try to keep her alive, knowing she was there, and then just that whole thing blossomed, and he really became a father figure to her.
I know, right, Brandon? Like when he lied, made up the lie about Mike's grandma, and then got him in the car and just like lost it on him.
Which is another dad thing, but it's also, it was funny to me though, because even that came back around full circle in the last episode with the letter that he went over with Joyce that he was supposed to do and he didn't, how things worked out, and then it made it more emotional at the end
Oh yeah.
for all of us.
Oh yeah.
To
The
what
letter
he would have said and hearing it in his voice.
Oh yeah.
the letter in his
the
voice.
letter at the end was a beautiful
That's
thing.
what
It was very
made me cry.
It was very touching, very sentimental for the whole thing. I really like him and Joyce together.
Chopper.
So Brandon, yes. So here's the thing. I don't think that he's dead. I don't think that Hopper's dead.
Was it you or Isaac that told me about him standing next to the machine?
And he wasn't there anymore?
Yeah.
That was
Well,
me.
that was what Landon was telling me this morning at church, is when they showed the scenes when all of a sudden the machine was about to, go, and they show those people in the suits, and then all of a sudden they're vaporized.
He wasn't there.
Like they didn't show him, like the rest of them. He just wasn't next to the thing.
Yeah.
And so Landon thought, but to me, I still think at the very end extra scene when it said no, not the American, and then they
Yeah.
went to the next one. Who's the American?
Yeah.
Is it the dude that spoke Russian that helped them translate everything? Because it said it was a certain amount of time later, or would it be?
No, it's not him. It's not.
But
him.
if it had anything to do with the Russians, which means we've got a lot more to learn next season about
Yep.
the Russians, because they showed that they were doing all this, but we still never got an answer to why,
And
what they were doing there, why they wanted open.
Made a Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Yes, a full-on Demogorgon.
I thought it was a Demodog at first, because when he crawled out of that chamber and then he
Yeah,
got up. I was like,
because they made it look like a Demodog,
I
and then
thought it was going to be a Rancor. But the door was a little small.
Yeah, but no, I definitely think I think that there's some kind of connection there where somehow maybe Hopper was transported out of there using the technology or whatever. Somehow he ended up in Russia. I don't know how, or maybe that's not even Russia.
Or maybe
did it say it was Russia? It did say it was Russia. Yeah.
Or,
it did.
or maybe when that thing explodes, maybe they don't die. Maybe they get transported to a different world.
Well, I
Like,
think that they
different-
did
not
die. I think that they did die in the first part of the
Who?
when they first messed up, when they were trying to open up the portal, and everybody died.
But
when they
it
exploded.
just-
But we didn't see Hopper explode. That's the thing. And hey, we all know, all of us who are nerds and watch TV shows and movies, we all know if there's no body.
And
Probably not.
what's the movie that kept playing in the theater? Back to the Future. transporting, travel.
See, that's what I think. I think it's a time travel
I
thing.
think it's a foreshadowing.
I think it's a foreshadowing as well because they kept showing some time travel thing. So what if he was transported to another time? Maybe that's,
Maybe
he's got to get back to the future. So what if it transported him literally
Because
a
they
few months into the
specifically
future?
meant when Steve and Robin were under the truth serum, they said, "Well, what do you mean you got to go back to the future? He's in the past." And then Robin was like, "Well, no, technically he's in the future. He's got to go back to the future, which is technically his present. Why mention all that
Yep.
besides them being under those
You
drugs?"
got to remember that these writers,
Everything's foreshadowing.
they all give these connections
My
and these
guess,
little
though.
things. Even the littlest minute things are not just put there for no reason, right?
No coffee for dog.
Well, see, I think that they sent him back to the future. I think that they sent him to the future, and that's why he's in that prison cell right now.
That's my guess.
That's my guess, is that he's in that prison cell now, and
At least hoping, because we don't want him to be.
I do not want Hopper to be dead. Do not give me now. When they killed Bob, I was okay with it because
Even Billy.
yeah, I was okay. Well, is Billy dead?
yeah.
Yeah.
He got
Yeah.
stabbed in
Yeah,
the
that's
heart.
true.
The Flayer filleted him.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So much happened.
The
I'm
part
trying to
of your
remember it all.
chest that should be here is not here.
That's true.
anymore, friend.
But well, that's the thing. We saw Billy die, right? But we
This-
didn't see Hopper
This
die.
thing ate him.
But yes, but the thing is that with Bob, I was okay with Bob.
And he
Being
was at
gone.
least a sacrifice.
Yes.
The only sacrifice that Hopper did was he fought off the Russian so that she could get the key. That's
Yeah.
not a full-on sacrifice
No.
for me.
And-
That's worthy of him leaving the show.
And I
Yep.
feel like Susie's gonna have a big part of it next season.
I think Susie's gonna play a part.
And I
too.
like her.
I knew she was gonna play a part by the end. That they
Well,
were gonna
she
get a
was the
hold
one
of
that
her.
got him the code.
Yep. Yep.
Never-ending
And of course, yes, the never-ending story song, guys. Oh, any
I
of us
liked-
who grew up with that,
I
that
liked
was
Erica too. She being Lucas's sister and not even being around him because they were in their different groups trying to save
Yes.
stuff.
And then,
I thought that was awesome.
Every
because she's kinda
character.
stepped
and then,
up.
and then when Max and Lucas
Can't
are
spell
making,
Erica
making
with-
fun of him,
Yeah.
they were
Yes.
singing the song, and he's like, "Really? Can you guys stop?" And he's like, "Those are for her ears only," and stuff like Dustin was talking.
I'm with you, Caleb. I bet you anything they moved to Utah as well. I bet you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yep, that they all moved to Utah, and there's going to be a connection there with Susie somehow.
But then how is the stuff with Hawkins going to be? Is it going to follow them?
I think they're going to be brought back to.
Yeah, I think
to
when
Hawkins.
Hopper, like maybe if Hopper is alive, and he comes back, I think that's what's gonna make Joyce come back to Hawkins.
with Hopper,
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to think Hopper came back or something like that, or
Or what
yeah,
if they all move to Utah and he comes back and then he's like, where'd everybody go?
right.
And maybe he learns to speak Russian.
Well, anything's possible, but I just I thought the season was done so well. I loved how you had all these separate stories and how they brought them into one cohesive story at the end that everybody meets up. And of course, that's a classic trope, where you have all these characters, but
Nancy
you have
was-
so many characters that you have to do that.
Nancy and Mike's sister, the little girl, they need to grow her up and bring her back next season since there's only a couple left.
I
Oh,
know.
The one who's like, the trees are moving
I was glad that Mike's mom did not have an affair
with Billy.
with Billy. Yeah, I was glad that they didn't go there, but it was what it was. So at first, did anybody else? Oh, see, now that would be good, Caleb. Memory wipe. I thought about that too. Like, what if Hopper comes back, but his memory's wiped?
And then what if Eleven's the one that has to deal with
And the
trying
whole
to stop
season.
it?
Well, how about this? 11 doesn't have her powers.
I know. Yeah,
She's probably gonna get him back.
And here's a question.
maybe
What
something
about?
to do with the bite.
Remember what I asked about all the other people who are numbered?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all those other people that we met last season in that one episode that just wasn't very good. Like I would love to see a lot of those characters come back. All those different numbered.
He's eating the bottle that you
Wookiee's
gave
eating
him.
a bottle here that I gave him. Winter Soldier Hopper. I like it. I like it. Wookie,
This bottle?
give it to Daddy.
Nope.
No.
He thinks you're playing now.
I know. Landon, can you get that from him, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. But yeah, I can totally see Hopper being mind wiped, and then they have to figure out how to get him his mind back. Like he comes back, and that's what brings everybody back to Hawkins.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is, and if 11 were to get her powers back, which she's gonna have to be able to help them. But if that's her dad figure, she'd have to go against her dad, who doesn't
Yeah.
remember her and is just being a soldier, and she's like, Hop, come on. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that would be a big emotional thing too because of how much his death
Yeah.
upset her.
Yeah, so those yeah, so the numbered kids, you know, like you said, they need to bring them back in a positive way in a good episode because that episode was just I remember
Not
when
like
I
the
first seen
SNL
it,
skit.
I remember I kept watching it going like this is awful. Like this doesn't even feel like it's the same show. What happened to this episode? And then all of a sudden like I started seeing that everybody else kind of felt the same way that I felt. And I was really glad to see that because it was bad, but I liked the concept, right? So I mean, I would like to see them bring those numbered kids back,
But not like the SNL skit.
not like the SNL skit. No,
Yeah, where
where
like I think of what you're I can know
Saying
what
in
you're
a-
thinking.
I
like
can read your
fart.
mind, but instead of making my nose bleed, it makes me fart. All right, but so
Read
that was
your
all
minds.
good.
Oh no, that was a real one.
But all that was super good. Carrie Elwes, or Carrie Ells, what is
Elwes.
it?
Who's that?
Elwes, yeah.
Unlike other mayors, I can speak with an English accent.
There you go. And he, of course,
Played a really good bad guy in this season.
it's like, hey, we're gonna hire you to do this, but you get beat up constantly.
Kicked in the crotch.
You get kicked in the crotch over and over again.
So he's in the same boat with Steve and Hopper, pretty much.
Yeah. And what do you think about Nancy and
Jonathan?
and Jonathan's storyline?
I actually liked it. It was one of those things like they could never just date like normal kids and go on dates. They've got to be saving the world and trying to figure things out and how they're gonna not get people taken over by things that are otherworldly.
There you go. Sure.
I think it's cool, like what they're doing with those
I'm gonna
characters.
come this way a little bit so we can see you.
I like what they're doing with those characters, but I don't feel like they made them do the right thing, like the report stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like that they're both doing the report thing.
The reporter thing.
Yeah.
That's what Lois and Clark did.
Yeah, I mean you got a photographer and a reporter together. You know. It was interesting. I think out of all the characters this season, theirs probably had the weakest.
Yes.
Well, Sly Prentice said that they were more like an old married couple.
Yeah.
Well, loved the bickering.
Yeah. But they probably had the weakest storyline, probably to me out of everybody. But it wasn't bad. It was just
Theirs
just
was
the
like the
weakest
only
of the storyline.
normal relationship in the midst of all the craziness.
That's true.
That's to me what I saw because it's like my favorite parts were the fact that one being, you know, a girl in the 80s to have 11 finally have that girl friendship that she so badly needed.
Yes.
They got to have the glamour shots with them, you know, taking their pictures together, which I was like, oh my gosh, I was there. I did that with my friends. But then also when she's trying to go through, you know, the relationships. I mean, it's they still kept her what's the word I'm looking for? They kept
Her naivety.
yeah, kind of.
Her innocence, yeah.
Because it was like when they're talking about, you know, when Will was trying to talk about that feeling that he kept getting in the back of his neck. And he's like, you know that feeling when you're on the top of a roller coaster and all the kids are like, yes, yes. And she's like, no. And,
Yeah.
you know, she's learning about relationships. And so to put the thing on with Max and to show her kind of what she could do a little bit more than the last season. And she's sitting there trying to figure out the boys and why did she break up with me and why did you do this, and you know she's trying to find things out, which then she like a girl turns around and uses against them in a fight when he's like, we're of the different species, and so she was trying to throw it back at him. He's like, wait a minute, you saw our conversation when we weren't, you know, because she can do that.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that all the things that she's still trying to learn.
Yeah.
Even if it meant she had to use her power. Not just for trying to save the world, but for trying to figure out relationship stuff. Like
sure.
Because they're like, women, you're more with, you know, emotion than logic. And they're like, what? What? And so it's like made Max more mad too, but I
Yeah.
just thought it was funny.
Well, and Caleb said also Mike's love revelation was hilariously well done.
Yes.
It was. And, you know, I'll be honest with you. So at the first couple episodes where, you know, Mike and 11 are just making out all the time, that was starting to get on my nerves a little bit, and I was really glad that they corrected that because I didn't want to watch a whole season of that. You know
But
what
it
I mean?
goes to show, you know, we were those kids in the 80s though too, just like, I finally get to like date someone. But then they also made fun of it too with Will, like, come on, you guys, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons, and why can't we just do our friend stuff? You guys are
Yeah.
all you worry about is your relationships, and
Yeah.
because then you also had Max and Lucas.
Yeah.
So it was that kid like
It did
it's
show
the
the
end of
growth.
the world kind of stuff.
It did show the growth in the characters, in the kids, in just everybody in general, but especially the kids. It showed them how they're growing up, how they're moving on from some of the things that they did
Well,
when they were a
even
kid.
when Nancy, you know, snuck out of the house when she stayed with Jonathan, and then you have Joyce and Mike, you know, eating breakfast, and Mike is going, I mean, not Mike, Will, and Will's like, oh, gross. And then, you know,
Yeah.
when Joyce is like, you're gonna like girls someday, but then that also came back as like a fight between Mike and him. And he's like, just because you don't like girls, and then it was like, oh, that's right, you've been in the upside down. You haven't really had
Yeah.
time to find a girlfriend.
Man, and like I said, the product placement stuff, excellent.
New
Mr.
Coke.
T cereal, G.I. Joe cereal. What other cereals were there?
Well,
it was like
even just
all the
looking at, like,
all the 80s.
The old Burger King wrappers, it's like
Oh.
every little thing that's changed so much.
7-Eleven.
Yeah, 7-Eleven.
Oh, 7-Eleven. It was just great. Like all the different the cereal
The movie
aisle,
theater, or the
cereal
movie
aisle
theater.
scene, just
Ghostbuster cereal.
just really did.
Well, I
Yes,
just remember-
Ghostbusters
I
cereal.
just remember standing in the aisles and it's like those were the boxes we were looking at as kids.
Yep.
And that's the kind of stuff that I love. The Duffer Brothers just kind of brings that back out in time, and it like transports you back.
Now, how many of you are old enough to remember New Coke? Because I remember New Coke.
And what do you think of Lucas's take on it when he's like, it's refreshing, it's supposed to be sweeter, and it was like a
sweeter.
commercial for New Coke.
Well,
by,
it was
by
the commercial.
Lucas.
He was reciting the commercial for New Coke, and New Coke
It's
did.
sweeter,
Yes,
older,
Jordan.
better.
New Coke sucked. New Coke absolutely
Which
sucked.
one was worse, New Coke or Crystal Pepsi?
New Coke. New Coke was bad. It was like they really. I don't know what prompted Coke. I do know because I've seen enough things about it now after years later where they wanted to compete with Pepsi because Pepsi was a sweeter beverage and stuff, and so they wanted to kind of compete with that taste. But the reality was Coke had a no pun intended, but had a
Slight prejudice
classic.
that I forgot about Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah,
we all
Coke-
did. We should.
Coke had a just a classic taste to it, and so it just when they tried to do that, they tried to sneak it by everybody and then go, well, this is New Coke, and it lasted like a couple of minutes because everybody immediately was like, this is awful. We want old Coke back. And I remember people petitioning to bring back Coca-Cola, and they did. They had both of them for a while. So you had New Coke and you had Coca-Cola Classic. Now it's just Coke again. It's just Coca-Cola, whatever. Now I hear rumors that they're talking about bringing back New Coke again, and I think that there were in some places because of Stranger Things 3 that they actually did special promotional things of New Coke for that reason. But Coca-Cola Classic, you were one of those, Keith. I don't blame you, man. I tell you what, I remember when Coca-Cola Classic came back. I remember where I was. I was at my great grandmother's house, and they had a Coca-Cola Classic, and they had that little logo on the side, so you knew it was Coca-Cola Classic. So you knew that it was the original Coca-Cola formula. Original formula, it said, and to drink that, it was so refreshing again. That was refreshing.
Jordan said,
That
I'd
was
rather
good.
have the upside down burger and ice cream.
But yeah, so the whole New Coke thing, man. That was now Crystal Pepsi.
That's actually.
By the way, Crystal Pepsi is not that bad. But yeah,
Exactly. Just the shape of the cans brings back memories.
absolutely. Crystal Pepsi wasn't that bad. I remember we used to drink Crystal Pepsi a lot when it came out because it was something new and different. But Crystal Pepsi.
We were also drinking Jolt Cola in the
Yes.
show too.
When they were super thirsty, I was like, Hopper, what are you doing? You're guzzling down a Jolt?
Because
Like
that's
nobody
what it
guzzled a
was.
Jolt. What?
Because it was back in the day, that was the cool thing to do. It was like Mountain Dew. Everyone's got to have it. So it's like, why not take Jolt? Because now you're quenching your thirst and you're giving yourself some energy for the show.
Yeah, let's talk about Smirnoff.
I loved him. He was so cool. I was sad about him too.
Dimitri. Dimitri.
And he
I
was
love-
They
my
still sell
favorite-
Jolt. They still sell Crystal Pepsi. Actually, we were just at Meyer last night, which is I don't know if you all have those, but Meyer is like a Midwestern department store kind of deal, kind of like Walmart. But it's huge. It's big. It's all over the Midwest. So, but they had a T-shirt. They had a Crystal Pepsi T-shirt. Remember, we were just there last night.
My favorite picture that's on the internet, I actually saved it because there was a bunch of different, because Twitter, man, was blowing up obviously all weekend. But my favorite picture of Dimitri is when they have him in the back seat with his cuffs on and he's holding his 7-Eleven Slurpee with the straw in his mouth and he's like smiling and it says when Hopper, stole the car from that guy and he's like, this is the most wanted criminal in the world. And you see the picture of Dimitri with his little Slurpee like, it's my favorite.
I was surprised that they killed him off.
I was sad
Honestly,
that they killed him off.
because I thought that they were going to use him in a bigger capacity.
But
maybe.
that's why the other guy with the beard, he learned all of his stuff. That's why he was able to help them because, of talking to him. But
it was
it
sad
would
that
have been nice.
that he died holding Woody the Woodpecker.
Yeah, he shot him right through his Woody.
Gross. But that's one thing that, especially with them going to do more Russian, explaining more of the Russian stuff next season, he would have been more helpful. The Russian Terminator got him.
Right? Thank you. Thank you. I kept saying that the entire time. I kept saying that the entire
It was like
time,
the
man.
Russian T-1000.
I kept saying that, Sly. I kept saying this guy. It's like he's Terminator. The way that he is, like you couldn't stop the guy. Like
The way that he walks too.
Yeah.
He walked like.
I know he walked just like a Terminator. And like Hopper, shoot him in the face for goodness sake. He shot him like several times in the chest. He's on the ground and he's shooting him. And then the guy gets back up, and I was like,
As soon as he
The
said that, I'm
world.
like, dude, it's the 80s. He's got a bulletproof vest on.
bulletproof vest. There you go. But I was like, dang. Like when he first just got up, I'm like, seriously? He's gonna get up like that? But exactly, Sly. I was waiting for him to say I'll be back as well. That was pretty classic right there. This show this show reminds me so much of my childhood and just like being
That's
able
what-
to ride
what
your
caught
bike
us in
around.
when we watched the first one because we were like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, look at that. Like it's like every little thing, takes you back.
Absolutely. It just so well captures the 80s and just everything. How about Steve running around in that Ahoy outfit?
The Scoops Ahoy?
Scoops Ahoy outfit the entire season. I remember, well, because like when I first saw like the pop vinyl
She was
figures
wearing culottes.
and the stuff, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. What in the world is this silliness? But like it was great, and I love Steve as a character, man. Steve is such a great character.
I actually liked that they gave Erica more stuff just because she had some cutesy little lines last season being Lucas's sister. But the fact this one, she's like, you can't spell America without Erica, like when they were trying to bribe her to go into the vent. But then it was also when she's like, free ice cream for life.
I know.
It's like,
Caleb,
these cute
that is so
things.
true. When those big dudes were just in the carnival, and they're just standing there like the security guards, and he just walks around with a gun in his hand.
That's an 80s. I agree.
that's an
I
80s
agree.
faux pas.
That's an 80s trope, though. That like in the 80s, like all these
You had
shows, you have
silencers, and
yeah,
it
you'd
was-
have silencers, and like that just meant that apparently your gun could not be seen either. But no, I agree.
And it only made that little sound when it went off.
And he did it right as they threw the dart.
What about the final battle in the court at which I thought was great because our local mall, the mall that I grew up with, was on Court Street, and it ended up being called Cortland Center, and so
Sly said like the satanic panic at the end.
like this. Oh yes, so like all that stuff talking about like the news and everything, saying it must be bringing in the Dungeons and Dragons thing, and so I think that that's hilarious because a lot of you know I'm a pastor, and so I remember growing up in the 80s, there was the whole Satanism scare and everything, and everybody thought that people were into Satanism and sacrificing people and all this stuff,
what
and
that
Dungeons
thing-
and Dragons, we're gonna send your kids
what
to
that thing
hell.
looked
And
like though, they had something to go on though.
yeah,
The face
but
of that thing was.
well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, but back in the 80s, the real 80s where
Oh, no,
we
I
lived,
know.
like, there were people who were concerned about this stuff because people, kids were playing Dungeons and Dragons and they were dealing with these, like very supernatural, thing.
Sly says, I remember that. Poor goth kids were all set.
Well, the
Satanists.
goth kids came later because the goth kids were a lot of the 90s.
I was gonna say the
A
end
lot
of
of the
the
goth
90s.
kids that I knew were in the 90s.
Which,
But
if they go to the 90s next season, they might be able to show
there you go.
some of
But the
that stuff.
goth kids kind of got sprung out of the 80s, out of the kids who were the burnouts
D&Ds.
and the D&D, nerd kids, because back then it wasn't cool to that's what I find funny. Like Weird Al Yankovic was just here around here on was it Friday night?
Yeah.
And we didn't get to go see him this time, but I was talking about this. It's kind of funny because like we're all nerds
Dustin
here, and
was
that's
wearing a Weird Al t-shirt at the same
I know,
too.
right? Oh, I know. And they actually played. What was the song they played?
Bologna.
They played My
Because
Bologna.
when Mr. Clark was teaching him
Yes.
about the magnets for that one episode, he was playing
Yes,
Weird
they
Al.
played My Bologna, which was awesome. I'm such a huge Weird Al fan. But the thing is, it's like a lot of these things that we like, there's a good and a bad to them being popular now, because like with Weird Al, you used to be able to go see Weird Al for a decent price, and it was a smaller venue, and and stuff like that. Now, like this one that was just here locally, like it was extremely expensive, and I know some of it is because he's traveling around with like an orchestra or whatever. He gets an orchestra for this thing because it's called the Strings Attached Tour, and so he does a lot of his songs with an orchestra, and I get it. But the thing is, it's like these huge venues now with a few thousand people, and the prices are just through the roof. So a lot of nerd culture has really exploded over the last few years and become the cool thing. So now the cool kids are the nerds, right? But the thing is that
Yes, the floor was always sticky because of hairspray.
yes, Aquanet, baby,
Heck
Aquanet.
yeah.
But the thing is that like back then it was not cool to be a nerd. It was not cool to be into things like that. The stoners and the burnouts were into stuff like D&D, and those kids were looked down upon because
And now there's Fortnite, World of Warcraft, all that
Yeah.
stuff where you're like not cool if you don't know what that is.
And you were not looked at favorably if you were into those things. I mean, and nowadays it's exact opposite, right? So
even-
nowadays all that nerd culture has now come to the surface,
That's being cool.
and it's the cool thing. But back then, man, if you weren't a jock, if you weren't into football and sports and all those
Well,
things, you were
they
not
actually,
cool.
They actually showed just a tiny little snippet of that feeling when Erica was talking to Dustin, because she's like, he goes, did you just do that in your head? And she's like, yeah, I'm smart. She goes, I'm not a nerd like you. And it was like even the younger girl was trying to make fun of them, like, I'm math smart, but I'm not nerd smart, which I
Yeah.
thought was cool that she got the D&D game at the end. So I'm wondering
Yes.
if that's going to play into her finally becoming a full-on nerd next season.
Yeah, but no, those were all great things about this. Is that I thought it captured that very well, because this is a bunch of outcast kids, is what it is.
That are
It's-
saving the world.
that are saving the world, because it's not all the cool kids, and it's cool to see them kind of come into their own.
And even Steve, who is considered a cool kid because he was Steve the Hair Harrison.
Yes.
Now that he's graduated, he's got his kids and they're younger, and he's like, I mean, that's like when Robin came out, she's like, what is she doing? She has power, and he's like, yeah, come on, she's got powers, keep up. Like, he's become the nerd because things didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
He's still the cool kid who girls love and like, oh my god, it's Steve, but yet he's the nerd.
Yeah. But the mind flayer at the end,
Yes.
that battle was amazing. Was really cool. I mean, the thing up on top of
The glass mall.
yes, up on top of the mall, and then when it came out, when they were out in front of the mall, and they finally got the car working, and
Steve came.
what's his name?
Billy.
Billy was going to drive right towards him when Steve came and like crashed him. First of all, inertia, it doesn't work that way. It would have still crashed in through them, but is with as close as it was. But we won't go there because they was coming this way.
It's a TV show.
Yeah, it doesn't just go like that. It would go there. But anyways, still just really cool to see that all that stuff and how they fought it, how 11 took it. Oh, somebody brought it up earlier. The thing in 11's leg.
Yeah.
Ooh, now let me talk a little bit about that, because that.
So I don't forget my thought.
Yes, go ahead.
I can either say it now or later, but
Go ahead.
don't let me forget then.
Yeah,
Because
go ahead.
to me, I thought it was interesting that when it did come to Billy's sacrifice, I like the fact that when he did come onto the show, it's like if you think back, it's cool to see that him and Max finally got closer because they butted heads. He hated her. He hated that she was dating Lucas. You know, all these other things last season. He was always just angry, bitter, cynical dude. And we didn't know, you know, is he just a jerk? So it was kind of nice, I thought, this season to see, you know, when 11 went into his mind to try to find the Mind Flayer and see what was going on, and, you know, that she got to see a memory of him as a kid, that he was happy, that he did have good memories, but it was what happened in his life that turned him angry, negative, and cynical. And to me, I thought it was awesome at the end when he was trying to sacrifice 11 to this Mind Flayer, and he's, you know, pretty much over top of her, and she's just like, I remember seeing her, she was wearing a dress, you were happy, you were, and it's like she brought the good in him out in the end, which is what ultimately caused him to sacrifice for his sister and her friends and to try to save things, to see that there was good in Billy, that he wasn't just a jerk. So to me, it made me feel that his sacrifice meant that much more, because we finally saw like the bad part of Billy for all these seasons just kind of go away and be like, and he stood up to this. So I thought it was very powerful to see a huge thing and then him standing right in front of it. Not, I mean, I thought that, yeah, he might be sacrificing himself, but even if he didn't, that was, to me, that was powerful. And I liked the fact that they kind of rectified Billy before he was done.
Absolutely. That's a great point. That's a really good point. So for me, personally, the whole thing with 11's leg.
The bite?
Yes, the bite. So when they're going in there and doing all that stuff, and her leg looked just nasty.
I think that's the reason she doesn't have her powers.
Well, yeah, but the thing is with that, you know, like, so 3 weeks ago, I took a line drive. Another line drive. I years ago I took one to the left leg. 3 weeks ago I took a line drive in softball off my right leg, off my shin, just right in the same exact place, and it got all red and dark stuff.
Because
I had to go to the doctor.
You had been wearing your shin guards for years and decided, I don't need them anymore. I haven't gotten hit.
And it got hit, and it hurt really bad, and it got all red, and I ended up having to go through antibiotics and stuff. Now, when I got the left leg done 12 years ago, when I got hit, it was really bad. It was a contusion all the way to the bone.
Major contusion.
It's still dark where the spot is, and I had to go through 2 rounds of antibiotics for that. So, like, shin stuff gets me right here. It was very emotional for me because, like, it's just now kind of healing. The skin's still kind of hard, you know, and stuff, where it's still healing and everything. When they're doing that to her, I'm just like...
When Jonathan had to go grab the knife and he's like, this is going to hurt. And he was just like, oh, this is too close.
Oh, this is too close to the reality that I've dealt with, because, like I said, because I've had that. It was tender. My shin's been tender and hard and red and everything. And to see her thing, it was like...
Maybe you have a Mind Flayer in your leg. Maybe it'll give you powers.
That'd be cool.
No, it wouldn't.
I wouldn't want one of those things in my leg. That was disgusting. It was kind of cool, though, how when she ripped it out, because it was like he couldn't get it, and she's like, I got this. And she ripped it out and threw it, and then when he went to go step, and then it came back into the... No, when the flare went like that, and it like came back into its body. Did you notice that?
That didn't happen there, though.
No, not right then and there, but afterwards, when it was looking for the kids in the room.
Did
it? Stepped next to it, and that little piece that they had gotten out of her went.
Well, I missed that. I just saw him squash that part, so I guess I didn't see that. Okay.
No, but when
it was gross when the people turned into liquid to turn into that thing.
No, oh, the rats. Oh, it was gross.
It wasn't just rats.
I know, but the rats were gross.
He doesn't like rats.
I hate rodents. I hate rodents, man.
He loved when they were exploding, not realizing they were all going to become one gelatinous goo.
But when the people just like fall on their knees and then fall right over, that was nasty.
Yeah.
But when Will's brother, what's his name again? Jonathan, when he's like trying to get it out of her leg, you can like see him moving around in the skin and stuff. That was weird.
Caleb just says, I remember walking past a barbed wire fence when I was 9 and sliced my thigh open on a loose wire. It was not fun.
No. Hurting yourself is not fun.
Landon got that had that happen to him on Enosh's 40th birthday party.
Oh, Yeah, I was riding a bike and I hit like this curb thing, and my leg went into the gears and it shredded up my
Top of the inner calf up towards the knee, just huge slice.
It's nasty.
Like the wound could talk if he wanted it to.
It looked like a shark bite. It was so crazy.
Sly Prentice says them eating fertilizer got me.
Oh, I know, right? That was
The old lady eating the fertilizer. She's like, I gotta go back.
Man, what a cool season.
It was.
It was a
And
good
see,
season.
see, this is the weird thing for me. I want more episodes than 8, but it's like just those 8 episodes is just like just talking about it right now is like so much happened in those 8 episodes, but yet I still want more.
So I would be
'cause I'm
fine.
selfish.
I'd be fine with just 8 episodes as long as it's not 2021 before we get season 4.
Yes. So Mike just
Like-
needs to not ask for more money, and I think we're good.
So as if we got a season per year, I'd be
Yes.
happy and I'd be fine, and that's what I'd be okay with.
But we only have 2 more seasons left.
I know, but the thing is that
They said they're only doing
when the
5.
last season was 2017,
Yeah,
and
it took 2 years.
and it took
for this
2
last
years
season.
to get 8 episodes. That's not cool.
And that's scary.
That's not cool, right?
Well, it's like when
Well, like,
Riverdale
it's a-
was just over, and then now they're back in Canada right now, starting to film the next season. It's like, come on, get it right.
Get on it, man.
Take some time off, enjoy the fun that this has been, and let's get taping and keep your fans.
And
happy.
Millie Bobby Brown is, doing movies now and
Yeah.
everything, so, it is
So
what it
she's
is.
becoming a bigger star now.
Yeah.
But
So-
I think it's cool though too when you have the people in the show like Jonathan and Billy Bobby and 11 that they have such strong English accents, but to hear them, that
So does
always
Henry
gets
Cavill.
me when you can hear them on the show and you can't tell when they're crying, when they're excited, when they're like nervous, scared, whatever emotion they're portraying. You can't hear their accent. To me,
Especially
that
with Henry
blows me
Cavill,
away.
too.
Yeah, like
Henry Cavill, I didn't even know he was
It
British
seems
until
like-
you guys told me.
It seems like every actor or actress that I love, that I'm just like, oh, these guys are so good, and then you hear them in real life, and you're like, no, that's not how you sound, because they do so well at our accent.
What's his name from Split? He's Scottish.
Scottish, thick Scottish accent, so rough that you can almost barely understand. Colin,
Firth?
no.
Oh, no,
he was-
Colin,
he was
Bullseye.
Bullseye in Daredevil.
yeah, I can't think of his last name.
He has got such a thick Irish accent, you cannot understand anything at all. So I just think that's cool that you can, take people, shows how good their acting is when they have that accent, and yet they sound like the American accent
Yeah.
so flawlessly
Colin
that
Farrell.
you can't tell. Yes,
Colin
thank you.
Farrell. Yep, Sly.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sly.
And Caleb,
And yes, I want to see Godzilla.
we haven't seen Godzilla yet.
Me and him want to see that.
Yeah, we haven't seen
because
Godzilla. But, so here's the
She looks good in it.
So here's the deal, guys. Landon, when it comes right down to it, season 3 of Stranger Things, 1 to 10, what do you give it?
Crap. It was my favorite one. The only thing I didn't really like, my least favorite part of the season was we didn't get any Demogorgons. Well, we didn't get any Demogorgons.
We did at the end.
Well, in the end.
You got some monsters though.
Yeah,
the Mind
because
Flayer.
they didn't show us the Upside Down. They didn't do any of that stuff. So it was just what
But,
they
like,
were showing this
But
season.
the first 2 seasons were like upside down and everything, and that's what I really liked about it. And then in this one, there wasn't anything about the upside down.
I do have a
Because they were
feeling-
coming out of they had come out of the Upside Down,
Because
trying to be in our world.
What they were trying to explain is the fact that when Hopper and Joyce went back to the place where it happened, and he says, "I was there. We closed all of the portals pretty much, making sure that it stayed closed."
When 11 did it.
So when they were trying to open it, and you saw a little bit of that, come out, because they blocked the Upside Down off. It had to come out into our world. That's why it was going into each person, so that it could eventually become one big thing.
Oh, okay.
That's why they had to do it this way, because they blocked off those portals.
Okay, then I give it a 10.
You give it a 10.
Now that I understand
No, that's some
that,
clarification on my points there. I'll give it a 10. Tiffany, what'd you think?
I give it a 9.5 out of 10. There's a couple things that I didn't like, but I think it was a very solid season. I feel that they progressed it along. and pretty much the 9 is because of the fact that I didn't like that Hopper left, and I'm really hoping that the Duffer Brothers have some time travel thing going on, and that the American that's in the cell over in Russia is Hopper. But even if it's not, I still give it a 9 out of 10 just because I love what they're doing, and I can't wait to see next season. And I again hope it's not going to take 2 years. I hope that they just expedite this and let us see what's happening, and maybe give us like 10. Throw us a bone. 10 episodes.
And I hope that it's not a never-ending story.
No, I'd love them to start the episode off like that with him and Susie.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I give it an 8.
An 8?
I give it an 8. Actually, you know, I'll go 8.5. Because I didn't think it was perfect. I thought there was actually one scene. I can't remember what the scene was.
Oh yeah, you're like, that's bad editing.
There was one scene. Remember that scene that it was like this jarring thing. That it was really bad editing, and I was really surprised that I can't remember what scene it was right now off the top of my head, but it was like really jarring, and I was like, whoa, what just happened there? That was
like
bad.
he paused it and was like, whoa, that was bad editing.
What can I say?
Caleb said season 1 was 8 out of 10, season 2 was 7 out of 10, and season 3 is 9 out of 10 for him.
Yeah. I'll say this was 8 out of 10 just because I felt that it was a little slow in the beginning. I felt that there were a couple of things that it didn't touch on that had to do with like stuff like the upside down or different things that I felt like there should have been a little bit of things that were like, and they didn't really explain the Russians. The Russians just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They didn't kind of give any backstory for that.
But to me, it shows that...
I'm not saying it's bad.
No, I'm saying to me, though, the fact that they ended it in Russia means they have a lot of explaining next season to do on why they want to get to the Upside Down, why are they doing all this? Why do they have a Demogorgon?
Yeah.
So I think they kind of left it open, but they should have explained a little more about the Russians to let us know until next season.
Yeah, like why?
Yeah.
Why is it the Russians? Why were the Russians even involved?
Well,
why were there Russians here doing that?
We had all that Russian stuff and that fear and, going against the Russians
in
the 80s, so that makes sense to me in that part.
Yeah, the fact that it is Russians.
Why.
The fact that it
Why
was
Russia?
Russians, I don't have a problem that it was Russians.
Yeah.
Just like, how are the Russians involved? Why are the Russians involved? That kind of thing.
Why do they have a Demogorgon?
Why do they have a Demogorgon? Right.
And why do you want the Upside Down so bad?
Exactly. Like, what are you trying to do? But
Maybe
so that
they're not winning the space race, so they might as well go into the Upside Down and win that.
I feel like maybe the Russians are trying to get a bunch of Demogorgons to like just eliminate everyone.
Well, that's what they did say. They were saying that they wanted to take over the world pretty much, and maybe that's their way of doing it.
Using Demogorgons.
But
I don't know. But so that is our thoughts and your thoughts. Thank you for joining us with your thoughts for season 3 of Stranger Things.
Or maybe...
He's still talking.
Sorry. Or maybe, because when the Upside Down happened, it was in Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
So how would they get one in Russia? So maybe when Hopper's there, maybe that is set in season 1. In the
Russia?
Yeah.
Well, it was said it was later though, didn't it?
No,
I'll have to go back and watch it.
It was
in Russia.
It didn't say the time frame.
So maybe he went back in time.
Gotta go back in time
to season 1 when Demogorgons were
a thing.
Were everywhere. Were a thing. And maybe that's how they had the Demogorgon there. My theory.
I like it. So that's our thoughts on that, guys. I love you guys' thoughts. I love talking to you guys again. It's been a while since we've done a live stream, and we appreciate all of you guys so much. We love talking to all of you. What's that?
That was a very Isaac thing to say.
It was a very Isaac thing to say. When Isaac and Logan come back, Isaac's definitely going to want to give us his takes on...
We'll do a Stranger Things Thoughts number 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Where we digest a little bit more this weekend of what we saw.
So I will say this.
Some more stuff.
I will say this. Look forward to this. We've got a couple of videos coming out this week. We did see Spider-Man over the weekend. And so we'll be doing our review of Spider-Man. If you saw Spider-Man Far From Home,
sorry,
in stereo over here. If you saw Spider-Man, look for that coming soon. Also, we did see Toy Story finally this weekend.
So between Toy Story and this show, man, just
Lots of emotion,
Kleenex.
lots of emotion.
Brought
But
to you by Kleenex.
but so we'll have some videos coming out this week for all of that.
Sly Prentice is going to see it tonight. Which one? Spider-Man.
I think Spider-Man, yeah.
Okay.
Spider-Man. But yeah, so
I love Tom Holland. As
look
Spider-Man.
look for our reviews on that. Plus, there's a bunch of other stuff that we want to cover this week and different kind of thing. And I will tell you this is my nerd thing of the week. So it was announced, this last week that The Office is going to be eventually pulled off of Netflix
in the next 2 years.
in the next 2 years. So I went back and I started rewatching The Office from the beginning, and you know what? I forgot how much I really liked that show. I watched it when it was out. I think I skipped season 3.
So since Dwight Schrute didn't make it to our Comic-Con this year, if he comes back next year, do you want to meet him?
Yeah, I do. I think so. Yeah.
Then we got to get you a Schrute Beat Farm T-shirt to wear. They sell them at our.
This show is ridiculously funny.
It is.
It is. What did Caleb
That's what
say?
she said.
He said we could be heroes
Just for one day. Just for one day.
He said until season 4, hopefully.
There you go. Also, hey, a couple of things. I know Jordan has been in here, and Jordan, I haven't ignored you, but the only thing is I want to make sure that our streams are a little bit more focused now, because sometimes, unless we're just doing a round robin of just kind of everything. Since this was Stranger Things, I wanted to kind of keep it Stranger Things while we were here. Because I know sometimes we get off on a lot of different topics, and so and that's cool when we do the Talk Nerdy to Me segments, but I wanted this to be straight on. But yeah, just so you all know, Jordan is still hard at work on the Scooby-Doo fan film. He's got like 2 hours of it done. This thing's going to be like apparently an epic 2-hour movie. So look for that soon. Also, I will tell you this, those of you who have asked me, starting on July 15th, you can find my band, Waking Vegas, on Spotify and iTunes, and basically most of the streaming services we are now going to be streaming. So you guys have asked me about those, and all I've had really is physical
and
CDs.
Did you say that you also are on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram now or something, or didn't you?
Yeah, also my band Waking Vegas, we are on Facebook. We are also, though, on Instagram now at Waking Vegas. And then also on Twitter, we are Real Waking Vegas, because there is a Waking Vegas in the UK, but they're just like they're a wedding band, and we were around first, and so who knew that they'd pick the band name Waking Vegas? But we are the Real Waking Vegas. We're the first Waking Vegas, and so look for that on all your social media as well, because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with that here coming soon. So hey, thanks guys for joining us. We love you as always. Stay nerdy, stay cool, because you know what? We live in a time where it's cool to be a nerd. And as Huey Lewis said, it's hip to be square.
Caleb says, quick question. Are y'all watching Krypton? If not, season 1 is on DC.
We are watching
and
Krypton.
I highly recommend it.
So we are watching Krypton, and we're going to do a review of some of Krypton. Here's the thing. We had hoped to do live stream with you guys.
I like Seg with the beard.
We had hoped to do live stream of Krypton with you guys, but the reason why we haven't is because it's on Wednesday nights. And Wednesday nights is a really bad night for us, because that's our night that we do rehearsals and everything for our church, with my band for the church. And so we can't get home in time to be able to watch it with you guys. And so that's the only reason we haven't done live streams of Krypton, because otherwise we had planned on doing that. But we are going to talk about Krypton at some point, and we will do a Talk Nerdy to Me live stream this week. And just talk about a bunch of stuff that's been going on.
We should wait till Isaac's here, or Isaac and Logan, just so that we can let them have some of their says too.
Oh well, we'll definitely let them have their says too. But yeah, so lots of interesting things, lots of DC news that's come out, and speculations and.
Did you see the speculation that they threw out on Twitter saying that the DC universe might be going down, and that the only show that's going to make it out of it is going to be Titans?
What?
That was thrown on Twitter. But
you mean the when
DC
you say DC Universe, yeah,
service.
Yeah. Well, it's probably going to. I have a feeling that it'll eventually get absolved
into. Down, and that Titans was the only one that was going to make it out alive.
I think it'll eventually get absorbed into
other services,
into the Warner Brothers service. But hey, I got a video that I'm working on that talking just about streaming services in general, because I think streaming services are getting a little out of hand right now, with everybody wanting their own streaming service, and it's
Disney.
I mean, at some point, it's going to be like, hey, let's just keep
combine them
cable. Let's just keep cable, right?
Put 'em
I
all
know,
together.
right, Sly? I mean, like we're finishing up Doom Patrol and getting ready to start Swamp Thing, and I was looking forward to Swamp Thing, and now I'm like really frustrated because they canceled Swamp Thing, and yeah, well, that's one of the things we got to talk about, Caleb. But we will save all that speculation about J.J. Abrams and all that good fun stuff for another live stream. For now, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure if you haven't already, given us a like. I've seen there's been quite a few of you in here, and the dog's looking to saying it too. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up if you like this, because that does something with the YouTube stuff. Dog. It does something with that so that people can actually see that we're here. And we appreciate all your support, guys, and we love you guys so much. Until next time, peace out. Remember, this is our never-ending story. Never-ending story. Atreyu! Falcor! Atreyu! Oh, Atreyu.